Perfect. Okay, good. Robert Christopher Riley, how are you doing today?
I cannot complain, my brother. How about yourself?
Hey, pretty good. Look, I just want to get into how have you been able to be the heartthrob for America on your TV shows?
Look, I don't know. Blame it on my mama. Um, I started out in drama and got a bachelor's in theater and a master of fine arts in acting from Lehigh University, Ohio University, respectively. And I guess I just know how to work well with dramatic text. And I guess I'm kind of a romantic person. I don't know. You'd have to ask my fiance that.
Nice,
um,
nice. No, I always say that because in all the roles, it's always either you're always somebody athletic, you're always someone
yeah,
that they're pursuing, but you're also someone very strong-willed. And it's always like, if you think about your roles from On the Floor to Dynasty to even when you were on Single Ladies with
yeah.
Brain Everybody, it was always there. Why is that the archetype they give you? They give you sex appeal and very assertive. Is that who you
I
are?
don't know, man. I have no idea. I can't speak to the sex appeal. I guess I can speak to the assertiveness. I was raised to not be a pushover. You know, um, I'm no dummy. So there's that. But no, I've just been fortunate. That they've felt that I was the right person for a lot of these roles, and I try to do every one of them justice when I get them. I've played a couple other things back, when I first started out, but even that's like a paramedic, a police officer, um, uh, you know, uh, uh, a dad that was a successful businessman but had a bad relationship with his daughter. That was Bad Dad Rehab with me and Rick Gonzalez and Malik Yoba,
Yeah.
among other people. So yeah, I don't know, man. I've just been blessed, and whenever they put the text in front of me, I just do my best with it.
Nice. I love it. It's always the humble ones that you always get those type of roles where you have to be like, man, other people be hyping you up and you're just like, hey, I'm just here to work. I'm just here to work.
Look, yeah, I just tell stories for a living, baby. That's it.
Nice. Where did this love for storytelling come from? A lot of people like it sometimes it's early on, sometimes they find it later on in life, but it sounded like it was early for you.
Well, I can say that my grandmother always told a lot of stories. May she rest in peace. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother. My mother's side of the family is from Trinidad. My father's side of the family is from Barbados. Um, and we tell some stories in the Caribbean, boy. Let me tell you. We tell stories in our music. We tell stories around the dinner table. And I was born in the '80s, so there was, I don't know how things are right now raising young kids because there's a lot of like television and
Mhm.
different screens in front of you. But back then, you spent a lot of time with Granny
Yeah.
and your aunts and your uncles, and you heard a lot of those stories of how it was when they were growing up, and as compared to how you are now. And I mean, aside from that, just at Lehigh University, the school was predominantly white, and 93% to be exact. And I was doing an intro to acting class. I was there as a football player, but I was doing an intro to acting class. My teacher was a black woman named Cassie Johnson, of Jamaican descent from Queens. She asked me to be in this play called A Raisin in the Sun. I didn't know what it was. And I said no a bunch of times. Then I inevitably auditioned. I had a callback, didn't know what that was. And they cast me as the lead role. And I stuck by her side for the next couple of years. She pointed me in the right direction. And like I said, then I went to grad school. And 18 months later, I was on Broadway with Terrence Howard and James Earl Jones and Felicia Rashad, and directed by Debbie Allen and Giancarlo Esposito. And after that, you kind of can't look God in the face and tell me he's wrong. So I guess I better tell these stories.
I love that. No, that's awesome. Going from Broadway to film to all these things, what's your favorite type of, entertainment? If it's like, do you love being on the stage? Do you love that sitcom with the angles, or do you love film? Everyone kind of always has their kind of like that one thing.
I mean, having done 108 episodes of Dynasty, I've grown a deep affinity for television, and specifically serial television, a series that stories continue. It's not something different from episode to episode. Like, these characters have relationships in each other's lives. So I really did enjoy that. Prior to that, I would say Broadway, because the audience is right there and you're sharing a particular moment in time in those people's lives.
Yeah.
And on television, you don't really do that. I've shot it. I see you. You can still have a great impact. I see people all the time that like love me in Dynasty or love me on Hit the Floor. And I was at a basketball game the other day, and this woman just jumped away from her husband and was like, "Oh, I thought it was you. Duh, you my favorite actor." And, sometimes it's touchy feely, but it's the appreciation is there. But man, there's something about being on Broadway and just in the theater in general that when I come out of that theater and I greet you or you greet me, we shared that same 2 hours. We breathed the same air. I saw your tears, you saw mine. I felt your laughter, was letting me know to keep going. And there's nothing more humbling than a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Because all you did was tell a story. You might have given it your all. You may have embodied a different character, but these regular people, just like you're just a regular human being. These regular people are appreciating you as a regular person for having entertained them for 2.5 hours. I mean, it's the same thing with television. They're like, man, 5 seasons for 5 years. People like, oh, come on, tell me there's another season of Dynasty. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, it's over. But so that 5 years means a lot, but there's something about that 2 hours that moment on, if it was today, which is what, the 8th or the 9th, then we were in the same place on November 9th, 2022. You were there, I was there, we shared a moment. And it's hard to beat that.
No, I love that. It's so funny because I was speaking to somebody who talked about when it came to television, right? Especially when it comes to editing. He said, man, you can do all these different takes and you don't even know what the end product's going to be.
Very true.
And then when I talk to people who've done Broadway and film, they say that they love the thing about Broadway is, especially, it's so funny because it's very athletic in a sense, because they're like, Mike, because all I got is this one time. I either have it or I don't.
That's right. Once the curtain goes up, babe, you got to be ready until the curtain goes back down.
Nice. How do you get ready? How do you get ready for like different roles, different energies, different things? Because, every time you're on set, it might be somebody new. It could be a new character introduced. It could be a new producer, PA. There's so many energies. And how do you just zone in and say, you know what? Robert's going to just do Robert.
Well, like I said earlier, I just tell stories for a living. And I think that as a performer, if you focus on that, like I said, whether it's from between action and cut, or whether it's when the curtain goes up till it goes down, you're focused on telling the story. So what I want doesn't matter in those moments.
Yeah.
For those 2 hours, what I want doesn't matter. For that 3 minutes that take goes on, it doesn't matter. It's an agreement between myself and the director and the producer and the writer and the other performers. Nice. And in theater, the audience as well. Mm-hmm. And that is all that matters. So if you focus on that, which is what I focus on, then there's no way you can't be ready, because all you got is what's happening right then and there.
Nice. I feel like it does give a lot of people advantage when I think of the classically trained ones like yourselves who start from like stage. There's a different type of, I always say it's like a classically trained chef. They know the souffles, they know all of that. And not saying other people who don't go to acting classes and make it, but there's an attention to detail. I had a friend one time who was like, Mike, we were looking at a play together and he said, oh, I could tell they're not really, they don't know what they're really doing. I said, why? Yeah. He said, because a hat fell. He said, see, in theater, whatever happens on here is going to have to be in real life. So when that hat fell off the couch,
somebody got to pick up that hat.
Yeah.
You ain't getting that hat on the floor like that. Somebody got to get that hat. There was a funny story in college. I was doing a play called I'm Not Rappaport by Herb Gardner. and I was playing an 81-year-old guy who's originally played by Ozzie Davis, and it's Ozzie Davis and Walter Matthau in the movie. So at one point, me and my co-star Greg Vincent, he's playing the other old man, and a dollar bill starts floating down from the rafters. Well, me and him got to arguing and fighting like two old people over that dollar bill. And it was in a technical rehearsal. It was a dress rehearsal, so there was some people there, but it wasn't a real audience. And my teacher was so mad. Cassie was so mad. She was like, y'all better not do that during a real performance. And I was like, but of course we will. Because a dollar just fell on the ground. These two broke old men living off Social Security in New York City, in Central Park. We gonna go get that dollar. We're not gonna pretend the dollar's just not there. So it's that whoever told you that is absolutely correct, because you do have to be in the moment and pay attention on across all the platforms, but especially in theater.
Nice, I love that. And going back to that stint on Dynasty, it's over now. How was the experience for you? Like just to be on a reboot of something that is iconic, and then have a length of 5 years. Because the thing is, you see shows come out, we get all excited. We be like, "Oh, black people," and then we see the report, they all canceled.
Yeah, in one door, out the other.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was life-changing in many different ways. It galvanizes you as a professional and as a series regular on television. I've done over 200 episodes of television at this point, because of that big chunk being Dynasty. It's a major part of your life. 5 years is a large part of anyone's life, no matter how old you are. If you think about even being in a relationship for 5 years, that relationship is substantial.
Yeah.
You're always going to have some memories from it, the good and the bad. But we had so much fun every day going to work that I miss it. I do miss it. I was fortunate enough to go right from Dynasty to guest starring on The Game. I'm a recurring guest star on The Game season 2, which comes out December 15th on Paramount Plus.
Congratulations.
But thank you. That's been great to Wendy Raquel Robinson and Jose Chanchez and Toby Sandeman, a bunch of other folks. It was an awesome experience. I always wanted to be on The Game, so it just so happened to be still around, and I got to be on it. But Dynasty that's family for life. We had babies born, people got married, people bought houses, people's whole lives changed. I got engaged and bought a house. It was truly a life-changing experience, and it was beautiful to be shared by so many people because of its international distribution on Netflix.
Yeah.
I've been to so many different countries in the time that I've been on Dynasty, so many different cities, and to see all of these different people from every different type of demographic you could think of, that could show their appreciation for it. I met a dude yesterday, not yesterday, well, today's Wednesday? No, on Monday at the Hawks game. I'm leaving the game, and these two young girls asked me for a picture. I was like, of course, two teenagers. I turn around, and their father's right there. He goes, those are my daughters. I was like, oh, that's awesome. He goes, you know what? I actually was in the original Dynasty. I was a tennis pro in the original Dynasty when they needed somebody to hit balls to them. I was like, why ain't that a son of a,
Yeah.
So it's awesome to be connected to all of those people from this one and the old one, and all the people that were able to share in that with us for these 5 years, and that it goes on for however long Netflix wants to keep it, or whoever buys it next is still on the CW.
Nice.
100 episodes, a lot of episodes back in the day, that gets you syndication.
Right? You be on that Friends tip.
You know what I'm saying? Look, anybody want to syndicate Dynasty, let me know. I'm down.
I love it.
Yeah.
I've read some stories when people are on shows that long, like they want to leave because it really takes up a lot of part of their life. Like people don't understand filming a show like this. How is that for you? Like, because I know sometimes some people are like, well, you think about season 1 of a show that films this many episodes, like we're filming 6 to 9 months throughout the year in a different
Nope.
city.
I'd have been the Ellen Pompeo of Dynasty. Let me tell you, she's been on Grey's Anatomy for about 18 years.
Yeah.
Okay, Mariska Hargitay ain't left Law and Order SVU no time. Neither has Ice-T since he been there. So
Look, if Dynasty would stay there, you'll be on there the whole time.
Let me tell you, I'd have put on that hat and been the driver again if they asked me to. You don't look a gift horse in the mouth in this business. And if you're having fun, I mean, some of those people's shows might not have been as fun as Dynasty, or they may not have found the fun in going to work. I mean, Mariska Hargitay deals with like rape and murder on every episode of Law and Order SVU, but apparently she enjoys it and likes the role that she gets to play. You know, not that she enjoys rape and murder, but she enjoys being an advocate for victims. I've heard her say that in interviews, and other people saying that it makes them, has allowed them to feel seen and help them recover from trauma, or it's somewhat cathartic. So you find the reasons to love your job. And if you don't, then you go on. There's a lot of shows, a lot of people have left those shows while they've continued to go. Some shows have been able to continue when big stars leave and others haven't. We had our cast shuffles in Dynasty and found a way to keep it going. And honestly, would probably still be on if the network didn't get purchased by somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's okay because the next show will come. You just got to have faith and be ready to tell the next story.
Nice. Perfect. I love that. I'm always conscious of time. So we have 10 minutes left because I always like to hit that mark with this, making sure don't go over. Like after all of this, right? What does that look like for Robert? You have some other projects coming up and different things, but also here you're writing now too. So so let me know.
Well, I mean, I'm a musician and a vocal artist. I make soca from the Caribbean, among other genres of music. I've got a little 3-piece band that you'll be hearing about called the Black Squirrels. We make like American folk music as well. So I do a lot of that in my spare time. I recently started making my own pepper sauce. So that's going to probably be coming somewhere near. Let me know if you want a bottle. I'll send you one.
Nice. Scotch bonnets. It's made with Scotch bonnets. I know it is.
Made with Trinidad Maruga Scorpion.
Oh, he said, look, I'm not Jamaican. Look, he said, look, you tried it on that one.
Ain't nothing wrong with Scotch bonnet peppers now, but I'm going to tell you that Maruga Scorpion is something different. So
okay, school me on there. Okay, I'll have to shut up now.
Yeah. Other than that, I've got some things in the works in terms of writing, short films, an episodic television, a pilot, 30-minute pilot for a sitcom, and still auditioning. Like I just finished The Game like 3 weeks ago. Oh, wow. And right now I'm focused on my wedding, which is the end of the year.
Oh wow! Congratulations on that. I know
that's one of the most important things that's on the docket right now.
Right, the kids next.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 kids. My fiance has 2 daughters, so they're already there. But there'll be some other ones in the future. We gotta get these 2. We gotta get these 2 into and through college.
He said, "Like, don't do it too fast now."
Hold on now. one little whippersnapper at a time. But yeah, no, life is good. Life is really good. My mom's out here now. She's getting a little older, so we moved her out here. She's in one of these active retirement communities out in Kennesaw with one of my aunts. So I get to spend some more time with her, and I got a brother down in McDonough, and his 3 kids and his wife, and I got another brother not too far from me here in Dunwoody. So life is good, man. I can't complain. If I was doing any better, I'd owe God money.
Oh, nice. I love that. I love that quote. I'm gonna take that there to at least always reference you when I use it.
Hey, I got it from an old black man on the elevator one day. I said, how you doing? He said, I'm always doing good because the day comes from God. I was like, okay, sir.
That sounds like my Capital homeboy when we were working out the gym. When I see him, I say, I see you. He said, it's better to be seen than viewed. And I said, you know what? Stop saying that.
Right. Like, okay, look, they say God speaks to all of us. Why not be polite and listen?
Right.
Won't he do it? Okay.
Yeah. Oh man. You know, you've been in the industry for a while, and I always like to
Yeah,
learn something from others. This day and age, social media takes it. You know, people look to social media to get seen, and they do all this stuff. You know, you come
yeah.
from a time where you have to, you know, you have to put in that work. You couldn't just get 1 million followers and then be like, hey, you know what? I know they gonna want me on stage. I know they gonna want me. What's your advice to people who are starting out with think like, man, I need to focus on this and not that.
I would say that you're correct. I did grow up in a different time. Even though it wasn't that long ago, time has moved so quickly now that I did grow up a little different than the way things are now. Even when I was on Hit the Floor, social media was in its infancy. I could only imagine if Hit the Floor was on now. I was like, Lord have mercy. I just saw McKinley Freeman, who played Derek on Hit the Floor, like 3 weeks ago, because he's on Reasonable Doubt now, which is on Hulu.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, whoo, buddy, if Hit the Floor was on now, I don't know what life would be like. But you know, everyone's got a different path, and I would say that you should just focus on. And I won't say just, because my grad school teacher would hate me if I said that. We don't like to use qualifiers. We either do something or you don't. We're not just doing nothing. So focus on what it is you want to do. Focus on that path and do your best to figure out what the pluses and the minuses are, and do your best to figure out what your strengths and your weaknesses are. I've been told your strengths will get you the callback. Working on your strengths will get you a callback. Working on your weaknesses will get you the job. So if you're an influencer, or if you are plying your trade on TikTok, then focus on how that actually happens. You know, what are the metrics involved in that? How much content do I have to be putting out? Is it quantity over quality? And if you're going to go a more traditional route, you know, find a proper school, a proper teacher. Not necessarily a university, but although those are the routes that I went, grad school, undergrad and grad school. Like I said, I have an MFA in acting, so I put in some time before anybody ever saw me. But you know, figure out exactly what direction you want to go in and be willing to pivot.
Yeah. Nice.
Because I started out in theater and regional theater at first. 18 months after that, I was on Broadway, and then off Broadway, and then moved to California and did some television and some commercials. And then Broadway came calling again. And I moved back to New York and did Broadway again. And then I moved back to California. And now I live in Atlanta. And it's not like I did that like every 6 months, but you know, it's a 3 years here, of 5 years here, a 12-month stint here. Been in Atlanta for 5 years now. I'm a little bit more settled down in life, obviously, given all the things that I've said. So be willing to change, but do some research on what it is that you actually want to do and the avenue that you want to take. Because I don't care what you're trying to do, research is still key.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you for that. You took us to church at the end of all of this. I love
Hey,
it. Well,
won't
man,
he do
this
it?
has been great. Won't he do it? Yes, he will.
Yes, he will.
Well, thank you. This has been enjoyable. I've enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself as well, Robert.
I did, man. It was real good talking to you, Mike.